Alright, what is up everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be looking at a Bleacher Report article. Bleacher Report put out an article talking about 5 NBA offseason trades that can still happen. Written by Grant Hughes, and I'm going to go through it. There's 5 trades here, and I'm going to go through it and react to it, give my thoughts about how realistic these trades are, how I would like these trades if they actually happen, and stuff like that here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so here we go. We got our article, 5 NBA offseason trades that can still happen. Written by Grant Hughes. We're in the dead of the offseason right now, where the Olympics have just ended, free agency. Everything's kind of already looks like it's going to be set in place. So yeah, we're kind of in the dead, just waiting for anything to happen or waiting for preseason and training camps to start up. So yeah, 5 trades that could still happen. Potentially, maybe. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to be in this article, but let's look at it. All right, first one is Zach LaVine to the Lakers. Obviously, Zach LaVine has been a big talk of trades and who could be the next big guy traded, because he was potentially supposed to be traded last year. There was a deal in place maybe with the Pistons. That didn't work out. He's on a big contract. The Bulls look like they're maybe trying to go into more of younger rebuild mode, kind of. And LaVine has just been one of those guys that they've been trying to trade for a year, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen because his contract and all this stuff. And now the Lakers. So the trade is the Lakers acquire Zach LaVine for the Chicago Bulls for Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes. I'll read the little excerpt it has in it too. It says, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are still as good as it gets among NBA duos, and Lakers can't go into the 2024-25 season without taking a big swing at supporting them with more high-end talent. You'll notice we didn't say high-end availability and a demonstrated capacity to drive winning. That's because Zach LaVine, who's been viewed as something that's pretty close to trade poison over the last year or so, doesn't have those things. What he does have is elite scoring skill, as demonstrated by his pair of All-Star nods and 2022-23 average of 24.8 points on 48, 37, 84 shooting splits. Yes, LaVine played just 25 games a year ago due to surgery on his right foot, and yes, the 3 years, $138 million left in his contract are scary, but the Lakers aren't giving up any draft equity here, and a healthy LaVine would give them a star-level score to bolster an offense that managed a ho-hum 115.5 points per 100 possessions whenever James was off the floor last season. We know the theoretically rebuilding Bulls aren't against stealing players without getting any draft picks. See the Alex Cruz for Josh Giddey trade. And the Chicago Bulls clearly want out of LaVine experience. Some have suggested the Bulls would need to include picks to get anyone to take LaVine, so this construction, which has Reeves as a headliner from the Lakers and includes no draft equity going either direction, is more realistic than it might seem. The Bulls preserve their picks, break up LaVine's big deal into 4 smaller ones, and remove the biggest impediment to a true reconstruction. Meanwhile, the Lakers take a justifiable risk by adding one of the higher ceiling pieces available, setting up their 2 superstars for a better shot at contention, all without burning draft assets they can use to swing down another deal. Yeah, I mean, again, the LaVine to the Lakers thing has been something that has been talked about for a little while, with that being one of the only kind of destinations that you can kind of see Zach LaVine going to. And with the Lakers, of course, being in the position they're in right now, they have LeBron, AD, and just not much around them, especially coming off last year when we thought they did build a really good roster and they still ended up being a play-in team again, taking a big swing for Zach LaVine. I don't know. I don't really like it a whole lot for the Lakers, just because like if whoever team gets Zach LaVine, he's gonna be around. It's not like he's on the last year of his deal. If he gets Zach LaVine, he's still gonna have 3 years left in his contract. And I don't know if I'm the Lakers with a 40-year-old LeBron, and we all know LeBron isn't going to be around for much longer. Maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 more years potentially. That might be even a stretch. Like, we know LeBron's not going to be around for that much longer. And Anthony Davis on a pretty nice contract. So after LeBron era, a team being led by Zach LaVine and Anthony Davis, I don't know how much I love that, because when LeBron leaves, it's going to be those two as your star players. And so how much would you really want that? I don't really know. I don't really know how much I love a Zach LaVine and Anthony Davis paired team. But then also just having LaVine over there with the Bulls, with the Lakers, LeBron, Zach, Anthony Davis. It looks like they still have D'Angelo Russell in this trade, if this trade, hypothetical, D'Lo's still on the team. I don't know. Like, yes, Zach LaVine, even though there's been a lot of talk said about Zach LaVine and his contract, and no one wants to trade for him, at the end of the day, he is still a really good player. I don't think any of this trade talk and the negative value around Zach LaVine is about the player Zach LaVine. Maybe the injuries a little bit, but the player on the court, Zach LaVine is still a really, really good player. Again, still an all-star caliber player that can get you 23 to 25 points a night when you need him to, you know? But it's just the contract is the big thing. The contract is just, he's getting paid like he's a top 15, 20 player in the league. Realistically, he's not. So that just like, do you want to pay 50-something million for a guy that's probably going to be if he goes to Lakers, your third option? Are you going to pay your third option $50 million? I don't know. Put yourself in that. Even putting LaVine with LeBron and AD, yes, it'll bolster your scoring, give you some more scoring opportunity. But I don't know. I just don't really know how much I really love the LaVine and LA fit. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's the worst thing that can happen. But I just don't know how much I love it, especially for the money. The money really is the big issue. Is how much do you want to pay $50 million for a guy, Zach LaVine, who is going to be your third option and has suffered some injury problems. The injuries, I mean, again, he's coming off foot surgery, you know. So, do you really want to do that? I don't know. And then for the Bulls, I mean, they would take anything to get rid of Zach LaVine, anything. So if you get a guy like Austin Reeves or Rui Hachimura, two young guys, I guess you can have your team to help fill out your roster, and then Jerry Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes, maybe you can flip him for something. I don't really know. But the Bulls would do anything for Zach LaVine to be off their roster. But yeah, I just don't know how much I love it for the Lakers. But also, on the other end, I can see why they talk about it, because this might be the only option potentially left for the Lakers if they do want to make one more big move and try to do as much as they can to give LeBron and AD one more shot at a ring, give LeBron one more chance at a true chance at a championship before he retires, because there's no really other all-star player or guy like Zach LaVine on the market right now. There isn't any. At least for right now. You never know what's going to happen, but for right now, there is no other option besides Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram. But yeah, so I don't know how much I love that one. Next one, Kawhi Leonard to the Warriors. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, what's the trade? It says Golden State Warriors acquire Kawhi Leonard from the LA Clippers for Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, Moses Moody, 2028 first-round pick unprotected, 2030 first-round pick, protected 1 through 3 and 21 to 30, 2029 first-round pick swap. The excerpt says, if the Warriors are willing to offer Paul George a 4-year, $212 million extension, they should be just as comfortable paying the remaining $150 million on Kawhi Leonard's deal. Maybe even more comfortable, considering the Dubs need to be thinking about additions that maximally move the needle during what remains of Steph Curry's prime, even if they come with huge risks. For Golden State to break into the contender class, it needs a legitimate second star to support Curry. Leonard, who played 68 games last season and outpaced Steph in both estimated plus-minus, a rare stat, and estimated win, the cumulative stat, could do much more than that. Depending on the night, he'd be often as the Warriors' best player, whether Curry's in the lineup or not. The Clippers cited a desire for flexibility in the release, explaining why they didn't keep George around on a max contract. Breaking up Leonard's deal into several smaller ones would help further that aim. Wiggins' remaining $85 million looks pretty good compared to Leonard's nearly twice as large sum over that same span. Looney and Payton both expire, and Moses Moody is a quality rotation player hiding in plain sight. The picks and swap Golden State sending should really entice the Clippers, who don't control their own 2026 or 2028 first rounders. The price the New York Knicks pay for Mikal Bridges skews the value of draft compensation, but with Leonard's health history, 2 firsts and a swap might be enough to get it done. Brandon Bajevsky's been off the table all summer, but if LA wanted Jazz Kuminga, who's eligible for an extension that can net him over $30 million per year, it'd be easy enough to swap him and Trace Jackson Davis in for Looney. So the Kawhi Leonard to the Warriors. This has been something that I have been thinking about a little bit, especially with the Clippers losing on Paul George. Right now, the Clippers are just, both these teams are in not great spots, but the Clippers are in just a very weird spot where they're not top of the West good. Like, I wouldn't put them as a top 5 team in the West or anything like that. But are they horrible? No. Like, they still have Kawhi. But again, I love Kawhi Leonard, but the injuries are just a problem. They are. Like, you never know. You can't really count on Kawhi to be healthy, which you saw last year where he played the most games he's played in a long time in the regular season, but he got hurt at the end and got hurt for the playoffs. So you just can't really trust Kawhi Leonard's health, unfortunately, even though when he does play, he's one of the top 10, 15 players in the NBA. So, I mean, with the Clippers, you have Kawhi, but you don't know. You have James Harden, who you just paid, who's like 34, 35 right now, and he's still good, but like, and then after that, you have just a team full of like Norman Powell, Derrick Jones, Zubac, Nick Batum, Mo Bamba. It's like it's an interesting team. It's like it's not good, but it's not bad. You have like decent players on it, but in this tough Western Conference, can it really hold up to be like a definite playoff team? I don't really know what the Clippers are in right now. And the Warriors obviously are in not a great spot either, where they lost Klay Thompson. They didn't go get Larry Markkinen, and now it's kind of just Steph Curry, and they're banking on Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Pajemski to be, really, really good next season. And they're just also, again, in a really bloodbath of a Western Conference. How much can you really trust Steph at this point when he's like, 35 years old to backpack you again and carry you to another playoff appearance? It's just really, really tough. So this is something I've been thinking about for the Clippers for a while. Is like, I don't expect it right now. I expect them to come in this year for the Clippers and kind of stay packed, especially when they're in a new arena and all that stuff. Try to see what they can do with Kawhi and James Harden. But at some point, would they think like, you know what? We're not good enough in the West right now. There's too many good young teams right now. Let's just start this over. And Kawhi Leonard will probably be at the top of the list. But then again, also, I don't see Kawhi Leonard requesting a trade from the Clippers at all. I mean, Kawhi, he's back at home. He's in LA. He's getting paid. I think Kawhi Leonard would be one of those people I'll just be like, you know what? We're just going to stick it out here in LA. And I feel like the Clippers wouldn't trade Kawhi unless Kawhi came out and said, like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. So it's an interesting thing to see. But this trade, the Warriors getting Kawhi Leonard, Steph and Kawhi, that you got yourself something there. Even though they're both older, and again, Kawhi Leonard has his injury problems. That's something you can't really ignore. But even still, just going out and making the move, getting a Kawhi Leonard, and if the Clippers, you bring back a couple first-round picks that are in 4 or 5 years from now. So at that point, Kawhi and Steph might both be gone. So those picks might actually be valuable at some point. And then you get Moses Moody. You can finally see if Moses Moody is a good player. Kevon Looney, I think I said Kevon Looney and Gary Payton are expiring contracts, so you just get them off the books, and then you have to take on Andrew Wiggins. But at that point, if you're trading away Kawhi Leonard, you're probably going into a rebuild. So you're just like, you know what? We'll take on the Andrew Wiggins money just for 2 years and see what happens. See if maybe we can bring him to the next level, or we'll just have him on the team for 2 years. We're not going to be good anyway, so we don't even need that money to do anything anymore. So if this move does happen, that would be very interesting to see Kawhi and Steph together, And also might be nice because even if Kawhi is injured, you still have Steph Curry on your team, I guess. And they also keep Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Pajemski in this trade as well, which would be a W for them because apparently they think those two are going to be the future of the Golden State Warriors. So if you keep those two, add in Kawhi, you still have Draymond. So you have a lineup with Steph, Pods, Kawhi, Kuminga, and Draymond, I guess. That's not a bad lineup. So yeah, I guess it's a decent trade. I wouldn't expect it to happen. I do not expect Kawhi Leonard. I expect Kawhi Leonard to be a Clipper next year. Even though if it does happen, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing some Kawhi Leonard being moved, but I wouldn't expect it. But that's an interesting one. Next is Anthony Simons to Orlando Magic. This has been one that has been talked about a little bit. The trade is the Magic acquire Anthony Simons from the Portland Trail Blazers for Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, 2025 first via Denver, top 5 protected through 2027. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was one of the best signings in the 2024 offseason. He's going to make the Orlando Magic better on both ends. That said, KCP is a finisher. He's not going to address the team's dearth of backcourt shot creators. In addition to scoring in bunches and canning 38.6% of his career three-point attempts, Simons is also a solid secondary facilitator. The guy he'd replace in Orlando's rotation, Cole Anthony, has seen his assist rate trend down for 3 straight years, bottoming out at 19.8% last year. Simons beat that handily with a career-high 27.6% clip in 23-24. This should be a no-brainer for the rebuilding Blazers, where in addition to Anthony get a future first and a recent lottery pick at Anthony Black. Orlando will surely think hard about moving the 2023 number 6 pick after just one season, but very little about Black's debut suggests he had the offensive maker to make the Magic what they needed in the end. He posted a nearly invisible 12.1% usage rate and ranked in the 8th percentile in his position and assist rate as a rookie, all while turning the ball over a ton. Defense upside is easier to see in the 6'7 Black, and the Blazers need that to help out Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe. Orlando owns all of his future picks, so surrendering that one it hasn't come from Denver shouldn't be an issue. As long as Magic recognizes the scoring boost Simons can provide, they'll find giving up on Black an acceptable concession. Yeah, this has been one that's been talked about, I think, even since last year, when the Magic started doing their thing and people realized the Magic don't really have a lot of shooting on their team. Anthony Simons, I think Anthony Simons is great. I think Anthony Simons is one of the most underrated players in the league. I think that's because also he plays in Portland, so no one really is paying attention to Portland. But Anthony Simons is really freaking good, man. He's got one of the smoothest games. You watch him, you're just like, damn, this dude can ball. He's got the 3-point shot. He can again, a secondary facilitator. And the Magic, one of the big things they need is guys that can go get buckets, guys that can shoot the ball and go get buckets on their own as like the guards. The Magic have a lot of guards. They have, but they're not really like that type of mold. Like right now, the Jalen Suggs is more of a defensive type guard. Right now, I guess he's going to have to be a point guard this year, so we'll see how his facilitating and stuff works. KCP, again, is more of a wing, a 3-and-D wing. Cole Anthony is a guy that can score, but he's not a three-point shooter. He's more of a get to the basket, get to the mid-range type of scorer, and he's not an elite scorer that's going to average 20-something points per game. Anthony Black, again, still very young. I think Anthony Black's going to be good, but I think he's more of a, like rotational, not rotational, but he's more of a connecting piece type guy that can do a little bit of everything. That can defend, get steals, get to the rim, make the right passes. He's not a bucket getter type dude, So the Magic don't really have this type of mold at a guard position. Now they do still have Paolo Banchero, who I think is going to be amazing. Franz Wagner, I'm expecting him to come in and have a really good year next year, but they don't have a lot of consistent scoring outside of those two. They have good players, but no consistent guys that if one of them's on the bench, someone else could come in and fill in that number 2 spot. You know what I mean? So Anthony Simons would be a really good get, especially with Portland coming out, I think, recently saying that Jerami Grant, Anthony Simons might be on the market, could be traded pretty soon, especially with Portland already they have Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, they have a lot of guards over there, so they kind of will need to figure it out a little bit. So I would like this move for Orlando. You bring Anthony Simons, bring a guy that can shoot the ball, a guy that, again, could be a bucket getter. That's something you need. And be, a guard that you would really trust in that situation. Then, again, you're giving up Cole Anthony, who is I really like him as a 6-man. I really think Cole Anthony is a really good 6-man, I don't know about him in Portland, because, again, Portland already has Scoot Henderson. They have Shaedon Sharpe. I feel like they have another guard. I can't think of it right now, but I feel like they have another guy that's in that guard realm. And then you're also going to bring in Anthony Black in the trade, who's another guard. So you just have a ton of guards on your team. The good thing is Cole Anthony doesn't warrant a starting spot. He's more of a 6-man off the bench. So if Scoot Henderson is struggling, you bring in Cole Anthony. He could be a decent point guard off the bench. And Anthony Black, just getting another young piece. That was a top 10 pick that maybe you can come in and maybe you can help him. You can give him a lot more time to develop, because in Orlando they have moved into being a playoff team, and I don't know how much more time they have in trying to develop a young piece. And then again, a 2025 first via Denver. That isn't going to be anything crazy, but, still getting another first-round pick as a young team is nice. So, yeah, I think this is a good trade. I really do think it's a good trade for both sides. Orlando gets to get a guy, Anthony Simons. They're not giving up a whole lot, and Portland gets something decent for Simons. So, yeah. Next, Dorian Finney-Smith to the Cavaliers. Now, this is what I'm interested in. Cleveland Cavaliers acquired Dorian Finney-Smith from the Brooklyn Nets for George Niang and 4 second-round picks, 27, 28, 29, and 25 via Milwaukee. If the Brooklyn Nets could have gotten a first rounder for Dorian Finney-Smith, they would have done it by now. Here, they settle for DFS market dictated value of multiple seconds. The good news for Brooklyn is that these picks are pushed out into the future, potentially increasing their value. He had restructured this to include second rounders in 25, 26, and 27, with the Cavs projected to be a consistent playoff team. The Nets wouldn't get quite as much upside in the bargain. Who knows what could happen in 27 and beyond. Niang is just a salary filler here, and the Nets will appreciate that the remaining 2 years of his deal is $16.7 million, just over half as much as the $30.5 million Finney-Smith has coming his way through 25-26. Cleveland's side of this is obvious. It needs a rangy defensive-minded combo forward to slide in between Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland backcourt, and the Evan Mobley, Jared Allen frontcourt. Finney-Smith is rated as a positive defender by defensive EPM in every year of his career, rating in the top 20% across each of the last 4 seasons. He's not the shooter Max Strus is, but he'll bring the exact kind of stopping power Cleveland needs from his potential fifth closer. As a Cavs fan personally, I think getting a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith will be crucial, just getting another defensive wing that you trust in playoff scenarios and trust to, close out and to get stops for you. We did have Isaac Okoro, who I love Ice. He's on the team right now. He's currently still in restricted free agency. But the offense, he tried. He had a good 3-point shooting league last year, but teams don't respect him at the end of the day. And then after that, we don't really have a lot of wings. I really like Jalen Tyson. I think Jalen Tyson's going to have a good rookie year. I think he should be a rotational player this year. I think we need guys like Jalen Tyson on our team. But, have you you see with multiple playoff with teams like this, with Cleveland especially, that you need that are going to be consistently in the playoffs and that you want to win. You can never have enough wings like this. Wings that are just going to come in and do their job, play defense, knock down shots, just versatile two-way wings. And that's what Dorian Finney-Smith is. He's a versatile two-way wing that's going to guard, most likely, and then he can pop off from three. He's not an elite three-point shooter. Again, he's not an elite three-point shooter, but he's good enough. I trust him. I trust him. So, yeah, getting this for the Cavaliers, Dorian Finney-Smith, would be nice. Cam Johnson's also been a name that's been talked about for the Cavaliers. That's a lot more money on the table that we're going to have to pick up. But Dorian Finney-Smith is a little bit cheaper, and I think he'll fit in a lot more. And then giving up, Georges Niang, fine. And then a couple second-round picks. That's cool because how often do second-round picks really pan out like that? Who knows? And then Brooklyn just gets off that salary cap again. They cut that salary in half with Georges Niang, and they get a couple second-round picks for the future that they can use because they're a rebuilding team. So will have more, use of those second-round picks than we would. So, yeah, I would do this trade definitely as a Cavs fan. But even just seeing from both sides, I think this is a good trade for both sides. And the last one, Ayo Dosunmu to the Bucks. That's an interesting one. Let's see. The Bucks acquire Ayo Dosunmu for the Chicago Bulls for Pat Connaughton and a 2031 first-round swap. Let's read the excerpt because I don't understand this one a lot. Two key factors should push the Bulls towards gritting their teeth and moving on from Ayo Dosunmu. First, the 24-year-old's market value may never be higher than it is right now. Coming off a career-high 12.2 points per game after seizing a starting role down the stretch of last season, Dosunmu is set to make just $7 million this season and $7.5 million in 25-26 ahead of unrestricted free agency. That salary is almost definitely too low for the Bulls to convince Dosunmu to extend off it, so it's highly likely that he'll hit the market 2 summers from now. Their long-term concern shouldn't apply to the title-chasing Bucks, who are all in on making their current roster as dangerous as possible. Secondly, Chicago should relish the chance to short the Bucks' future by getting swaps rights in 2031. If things go badly for Milwaukee this season, maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo will finally angle for a way out. It'd be hard to blame him given the age of supporting cast around him. The Bucks might remain stable contenders for a few more years, but by 2031 they could be losing games left and right amid a full rebuild. For the Bulls, betting against the 2031 version of a hugely expensive and second April limited Bucks squad is just good business. Dosunmu will be an upgrade over Pat Connaughton in the rotation, could spell Damian Lillard at the point and bring much more youth and athleticism than anybody else who figures to see the full regular in Milwaukee unless Andre Jackson Jr. forces his way into more playing time. That interesting. I mean, for the Bucks, obviously you would do it. Getting a younger guy like Ayo Dosunmu, again, they're really old. Getting a guy like that who can consistently contribute off their bench would be nice. But for the Bulls, I don't really understand doing this right now. I mean, they do have a ton of guards. You have Kobe White still. You brought in Josh Giddey. You do still have Ayo. Javon Carter's on this team. Is there another guard? I feel like there's another guard. Lonzo Ball's coming back next year. So there's a lot of guards on this team, and Ayo Dosunmu is coming off a really good year. And got him on a steal of a contract, too. But with 2 more years still left in the deal, I wouldn't do this now if I'm Chicago, especially at the state the Bulls are in, where they're kind of just have a lot of stuff going on. I feel like this is a point for the Bulls to see, all right, who's going to be a part of the future? What are we going to do? Was Kobe White last year? Was that just a random breakout year, or is that going to be this? Same with Ayo Dosunmu. If Ayo Dosunmu, was last year just a random year where he just had opportunity and did his thing, or is that actually who Ayo Dosunmu is going to be? Is Lonzo Ball? What do we do with Lonzo Ball? How good is actually Josh Giddey? I feel like this is the year for the Bulls to kind of start figuring out, okay, like, who do we like? Who do we not like? Just see kind of was last year a fluke for some of these players. What is this year going to look like? Even though they won't be doing that to the full extent because, again, they still have Zach LaVine, still have Vucevic, so they still have some remnants of, like, old playoff teams on there, but I feel like this would be a good year for them to do that. So I personally wouldn't do this trade if I'm the Chicago Bulls. I would hold on to Ayo Dosunmu for at least another year. Again, he still has 2 years left on his deal. Like if he was on the last year of his deal, and you think about if he plays good again this year, he might get some more money. Then maybe you consider it. But from the Bulls, I wouldn't trade Ayo right now. I personally wouldn't. Again for the Bucks, absolutely. If I'm the Bucks, I would love this trade. But for Chicago, I just don't really think it makes a whole lot of sense right now. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn on notifications and all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.